Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited to be joined today with my friend Nichole Chapis. She is the CEO and founder of Stargazer Creative, and she is one of the most lively manifesting generators I have ever met. She's here to share with you how she is helping change networking and your business and how you look at marketing and connecting with people. And y'all, she's a 6'2" in human design. So she is the role model of exactly how to do this. So, Nichole, introduce yourself. Tell everybody all the amazing things about you.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here, Anna. Thank you for having me. I'm a huge fan of your human design happy hour, which I know you'll talk about, but that's how one of the ways we've connect, one of the many ways. So I own Stargazer Creative. I like to say I am your on-demand marketing department and your business building bestie. I take all my marketing mind knowledge and help business owners align that with how they should be marketing their business to get visibility online and in person so that they grow their business, which for me more recently includes networking opportunities. Instead of just punching the clock and doing the same thing over and over, I like helping showing people new spaces and places and like my reviews of them and why they should be there and how networking in different places will help their business. And
I
then
love this
I'm just
so
outside of
much.
Boston. Yeah, I love it too. Thank you.
Yes.
I live
And
just outside of Boston, which is so fun.
Boston, too, I know so many entrepreneurs in that area. So I hope that they're listening to this podcast and connect with you because you do in-person things as well as online things. And
Mhm.
one of the one of the things that you do that has so drawn me to you is you share this concept of there are specific places that you go network on purpose. And that's something I love talking about with human design because I believe that very much. Like, we're not meant to go to all of the places, we're not meant to do all of the things. And what you're creating in your business is an amazing resource, an amazing platform to help people figure that out. So you're not wasting your time going to a place that you might meet some nice people, but that just might not be right for your business. And for me as a mom entrepreneur, I want to be really intentional with my time. And so share more with the people how you came up with this idea of putting together all of these networking resources, all of this like intentional marketing so that we're doing things in a more aligned way.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it feels right with my human design, being a man gen, right? I can kind of see the eagle eyes view of what I'm looking down at. And as a marketer and talking to people and over the years, you see people who go to the same things over and over, and it's the definition of insanity, right? If we keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. And people go to the same networking events over and over and over and wonder why it's not working. And it is literally like I can see it right from my little view here up in the 6-2 space. It's because you're going to the wrong spaces or you're not following a process that makes sense for you and the people you're trying to connect with. You can go to one networking thing a week and then follow up and set up a bunch of coffee connects if you want to be more in the quiet space. Or you can just do that and just be like constantly asking people, who should I talk to? And setting up one-on-ones. Like it doesn't have to be the stringent bro energy networking that people think
Oh,
of. Like when they think of networking, people think of like bro energy. Oh, I'm going to go meet like 6 million financial advisors, or I'm going to get added to a million email newsletter lists. And it's going to be a referral base because it's going to be BNI and it doesn't have to be. So I like helping people align those spaces with the right demographic for their business. My reviews of them, but also the cadence. Just because something meets weekly doesn't mean you need to go weekly. Because like you said, we're all busy. Mom or not a mom, you have a schedule and a life. There's no reason you need to be taking an hour a week to go to the same networking event if you could be being more effective with it and getting the results you want after 1 or 2 weeks. And from my perspective, I help my clients align those networking events they attend with the marketing message they're trying to communicate so that they're seeing more ROI and more results, right? They're not just going there and saying who they are and what they do. They're going there and talking about a specific offer or product or something that they're trying to get an ROI from for that month or that quarter. Maybe it's collaborations because they're planning something in the fall and they're trying to look for business partners or people who can showcase their services at their summit in October. Who knows, right? But that you're going with that unified message. And it
And
wasn't even you'll love this from a
hmm,
human design standpoint. So I've been going to a lot of networking things. I always joke with my friends that I date networking events. I don't like to marry them, right? Because I want to make sure I'm not getting bought, falsely sold to. And I was looking for a database and a way to kind of curate it for myself. And my friend Leanne, whom you've met from Authentic Vision Media, she was like, oh, she's a huge Airtable person. She's like, use Airtable and blah, blah, blah. And then as I started to build it, and Leanne and I co-work on Monday, she was like, no, this needs to be a membership. And she, as a projector, even went in, tunneled around, and outlined the whole thing for me. And I was like, when you talk about lightning bolts, I'm like, oh, that feels so right. As I'm like, yes, yes. But yeah, it was Leanna from Authentic Vision Media who really outlined it. It was like, no, you need to stop being crazy and just doing this for you. You need to share this brilliance. Okay.
well,
So,
and let's break this down from a business perspective and from a human design perspective a little bit. You said this word lightning bolt, and as a manifesting generator, like I can even feel like the energy when you were talking about this. And this is like the key, my friend, my Manny Gen friends, even our generator friends,
yep.
that when you feel that passion and that excitement, like I'm at the point now where I just blind follow that sometimes, and I'm like, I'm like, am I crazy? And then it works out really well. And I have seen the momentum that you've been building with this, the way that you talk about it, and how magnetic you are, and how much interest you're getting in this, because it is not only like a practical strategy for marketing, you love it. And as a Manny Gen, as someone who has that lit up energy, it's going to resonate. It's literally going to vibrate differently for people. And so if you're out there listening to this episode, pay attention to when you get that lightning bolt feeling, because it is a sign you are on the right path. And the other thing that you
Love it.
have said, like sort of skirted around a couple of times, but I know you're human design, so I'm going to point this out for our listeners, is you talked about your assessment or your kind of rating and explanation of all of these and the value of that from a couple of different pieces in your design, being a 6-2, so having that role model like part of you where you have tested out all of the things. Our
Mhm.
6 lines spent the first part of their life trying all the things, and then they're observing all the things, and then they're showing you how to do it the best way. And that's such a beautiful part of you using that part of your design, whether you knew it or not, but like you're sharing that and taking it one step further. Like you've got a defined throat, right? So that
Mhm.
shape is colored in. And we've talked about this where you want to and are designed to send a very specific message, whether that's in how you help people with their marketing or building out things in your business. But you believe so deeply in this that when you speak it to people on so many different layers, it is resonating and connecting with people. Like, I want our listeners to hear that. And I know that you can see all these pieces coming together, because this is like the recipe for a really magical offer that's going to go far for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that. And even my lawyer thought I was crazy when like she was coming up with the agreement for members because it is a membership, but it's a membership database. And she was like, but this is all public information. I was like, it is, but it's curated. And no, I mean, right now the database has 80 opportunities. I'm like, no one's going out there and plucking 80 opportunities. Plus, it's the access, right? Like you
Mhm.
were talking about my assessment. Oh, you're in this industry? Well, if these are your clients, have you ever thought to start networking in these areas? And people like look at me like I was talking to a designer today, an interior home designer. And I was like, oh, well, do you network with a lot of realtors? And they were like, no. What? Why would I? And I was like, why wouldn't you? Because 9 times out of 10, when someone's buying a home, especially in the Boston area, right? There's a lot of older homes that need to be renovated. The buyer is already thinking about what I could be doing for remodeling. And if you have that relationship and you're going in for one of their home tours, for example, and a 15-minute, whether it's virtual or in person, tour and giving them some ideas for renovating the space, that's going to bring you business. And they were like, huh. But I just, it's funny, like I can just see it and I'm like, no, 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 this is what you need to do. And I've learned from you that that's like my human design. Because back in my corporate days, that got me in trouble because people they'd send people in to interview with me and I was like, no. Yeah, oh, that's your name? Perfect, thanks. You're not good for the job. And HR would be like, you can't do that. I'm like, no, but I just know. Like just meeting someone and their energy, my gut just nope, nope. And I would get in so much trouble in my corporate days. That's not an answer. I'm like, no, but it is. It's my answer. And now
Um,
that I've thought, really gone into my human design, I'm like, oh, that is literally like my gut is my guide. If
mhm.
it doesn't feel right, it's not where I need to be. And if I'm feeling that pressure, then it's, oh no, I need to make a shift and I need to sit with it and kind of figure out what the shift is.
And
So,
that gut response is called a sacral authority for our listeners that might not know what that means. There are different parts of you. Sometimes it's your intuition, sometimes it's your emotion, sometimes it's your gut that help you make decisions. There are a lot of people that have this gut sacral authority, and there are also a lot of people who don't. So I just want our listeners to pay attention. Even if you're a manifesting generator, you could have an emotional
mhm.
authority, which feels different, and being conscious of that. So when people are like, trust your gut, and you're like, I don't know what my gut's saying, like that's actually possible.
Yeah.
So check out your human design chart and see what your authority is, because that is something that's so important. And the other thing I want to unpack with you for a minute, Nichole, is this concept of getting in trouble for being yourself and doing the things. And as I
Oh,
understand it, this was all before you knew much about your human
yeah.
design. So just talk through what it felt like to get in trouble for things that now you know are actually the unique, special things that as an entrepreneur are making you successful and helping you on that journey, but kind of deconditioning and letting go of some of those old stories. How
Hmm.
has that been?
It's it's been freeing, right? It's really, and I'm pushing 50, so it's, oh, is this what people mean by getting older? Or is it the fact that now I have more knowledge? Like you said, I've been collecting knowledge and now I'm putting it into play. And we've talked about it before in the sense of the shoulda, woulda, couldas. And with my
Mm-hmm.
marketing mind, I see it with clients as well too. And I know you and I have had conversations and you've even talked about past episodes. You've talked about the spaces where like you're working with a coach or doing something with another business owner and they're like, well, you need to do this, you need to do this. And in the marketing space, I see it all the time where people are like, no, well, I need to post on social media this many times a week and I need to be on all these platforms. And I'm like, but you don't. Like, and people will start, like, they'll have like a discovery call with me or whatever. I'm like, oh, you should think about quiet quitting Instagram. And they're like, what? And I was like, well, it's just a grid. It's like a billboard, from a marketing standpoint. I love it. It's a billboard. Each square or quadrant of the billboard has more information about you, but it's less stressful. Like then you can share your story if you want, but you don't need to be on Instagram because frankly, you've already told me you're finding most of your clients from email or from Facebook because they're an older demographic. So it's great to be there. I'm an advocate for being on social media, like the stats wise, especially as generations evolve. I mean, when we think about it, I'm trying to think of a way to even equate it. I guess when like we used to record TV shows, right? And then it became that we were DVRing them and now we're just watching them because they're
Mm-hmm.
on the world's endless DVR of all of the
Mm-hmm.
services that we have. But nowadays it's like older generations tend to Google, but now it's just we're searching for things and most of those searches are happening on social media before they're even happening on Google or
Mm-hmm.
social media's bring, so you know what I mean? So like you need a presence, but you don't have to constantly overwhelm yourself because of the should, woulds, and coulds. You need to do what makes sense for you. So that again, going back to, whether you're a mom or not, but there's only so much time in the day. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
a big believer we should enjoy it. I'm also a big believer we should always have dessert, but you should always
I'm here
enjoy
with you on
life
that
and
one.
what you're doing, right? Because if you're not enjoying something you're doing or spending time thinking about 60, 80 hours a week, whatever it might be, 40 hours a week, then that's not fun. That's not life is too short. Life is too short.
Well, I'd love for you to share something that as you've been learning about your human design, And one of the area I kind of want you to talk about is your environment. But we
Oh.
because we shared about this where something that might have felt out of alignment before, or you felt maybe some resistance, and that learning this actually gave you a little bit more freedom. And I know in a lot of different parts of your design this has
Mhm.
happened, but I remember you sharing the story with me about your caves environment. And I think the listeners would love this.
Yeah. So it was just, it was a light bulb moment again for me when I found out that my environment with caves, and you were like, no, no, that means one way in and one way out, and you want curated environments around you. Oh, that really makes sense. Because even with networking, I'll go to bigger groups and I'll be like, no, 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 I'm going to find my people. And then I'm going to have conversation with those people. And maybe I'm going to use those people or work with those people in a way that we're going to flank the room and get to know other people. But I've kind of collected a community, and even people laugh at me. They're like, anytime you're in a group or in a networking event, you seem to always have a collection, like a swarm of people with you. And I was like, it's just what, but they're my curated, selected, come into the cave,
Mm-hmm.
come in, you can be here. And it's just, it's interesting because I'm like, well, that makes sense because even as my business works, I mean, my business is a service-based business. So my ideal is 4 to 6 clients a month. And so again, it made so much sense with caves. I'm like, it makes sense. Like I'm not serving the masses, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not like try to get this out to as many people as possible. And the biggest aha with that was because you kind of talked about the caves as being like almost like I'm in control.
Mm-hmm.
And it made so much sense because the clients I have the most success with in my marketing services of my business are the clients who I joke hand over the keys. They know that they're hiring me
Ooh.
because my marketing mind, because I know what I'm doing, and that they don't have the time, effort, or energy to put into what needs to be done. And they're just like, no, 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 go. And we meet monthly. I'm updating them regularly, but then I'm just doing everything for them and
Mm-hmm.
acting as a member of their team and stepping into their shoes, doing engagement and whatever. And usually within a month or so, they're like, oh my God, I don't know why I didn't do this before. I literally
Mm-hmm.
had a client today who had hired me because someone was had to leave on a project for a couple months. And today he was like, yeah, I just don't know that I can bring that individual back. I think I need to stay with you because the value, like, they kind of had that realization of what they were paying for before, which was more than what they're paying me, and what they were getting was less compared once you have someone who's just taking control and doesn't need direction. So it was just interesting. I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense. Because again, in my cave, I'm like, no, no, it's my cave. Once you've
Mm-hmm.
given me the access, I'm gonna draw my hieroglyphics or whatever it is on the cave walls and leave my footprint, right? Or my fingerprints, I should say.
Well,
So
and what's
this
so
is my
beautiful
thing.
about this that I want our listeners to take away from what you're saying is like, first of all, you feel most comfortable in that cave. That's how this environment thing works in human design. This is, I like to say, the vibe that you feel most comfortable in. There's like some symbolism to the actual physical space, what what that might look like, but it's also exactly what your ideal client is looking for, right? Like someone who's looking for a marketer that doesn't take control is
Mhm.
not your ideal client, but someone who is looking for someone that creates that safe place, creates that I've got this, here's how it's going to look, here's how it's going to be, you are taken care of in my space. Like, that is a whole different client. And knowing this about yourself, knowing this for any of us with our human designs, then you're not out there trying to convince people who want something different that you're right for them. You
Yeah.
stand in your authenticity and your design and who you are, and then you actually attract the right people to you. And you said exactly that. These are your best clients. They
Mhm.
want to continue working with you. And it makes business so much more fun because you get to do what you're great at, support people and deliver for them. And this is what it's all about.
Yeah, and it feels more energizing, right? Because you're not doing the mundane of the things, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the things that someone's telling me I should be doing, but I don't necessarily want to do. Or as a marketer, I mean, I've been doing this for decades. The experience I've had and the industry shifts I've seen, yeah, okay, like we can strategize and schedule out your post and get you in some sort of a cadence, but that was working 3 years ago or 2 years ago on Instagram or social media. It doesn't work now. Now it's more the free flow, right? The random stories, the just generally posting and not having a strict cadence. So it's like just the go with the flow kind of thing, and just wanting people that understand where I'm coming from so that I can understand where they're coming from. I don't know.
I love
It's
that
been
so
great.
much.
Thank you.
So if you had a tip per se for anyone out there who, whether it's a general human design tip or something specific about a part of your design, what would you share with our listeners that would help them lean into it a little bit more so they can be more successful in business?
I think my favorite piece of human design was learning my sacral pieces. Like you said, my throat. Like my throat is a defined center. So my centers, I guess, my
Mhm.
defined centers. Because I've always been told like I'm talking too much, I'm sharing my opinion, people don't care, don't. And then learning, like, no, 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 it is literally my human design that I am supposed to be telling you. So then not only feeling more comfortable and owning sharing my voice and sharing my thoughts with people and having to say it, but that aha moment for me that, oh, visual learners versus tactical learners, et cetera, like I can say things out loud as much, but I'll say things and then I don't remember what I've said, but I need to write them down too. But that whole saying is really where like my wisdom comes from, right? Like a lot of
Mhm.
people are like, oh my God, what you just said, say that again. And I'm like, I don't know what I just said. But I know like my voice has power. And so owning the power of my voice and seeing that it was lit up on my human design was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This, it's like an aha moment. And it just really, so those defined centers, and I don't know, it just really, it gives me the warm and fuzzy about human design, and was part of what made me wanted to dive into more to understand things like the satisfaction and the non-satisfaction, and which, and it all makes, it's so funny how it makes sense once you learn about it, right? Like, oh yeah, frustration. Like I do get frustrated a lot. And usually when I'm frustrated, it's because I'm doing something I don't want to be doing, or I don't fully understand and can't grasp. Then I'm frustrated and it's totally not satisfaction, right? So, but yeah, definitely knowing the defined centers, I think was a huge, huge, first step win for me with human design.
Well, and I love that because I just released an episode, a couple, I don't know, maybe episode 26 or something like that, which I do talk about the defined center or all of the centers.
Hmm.
And something that you said in that is you were heard things, right? You talk too
Yep.
much. Someone said this somewhere. And you're like, I shouldn't do that. And but it's like you want to. And because your throat center specifically in this situation is defined, you're gonna like
Yeah.
it's literally what you're designed to do. So you're suppressing a part of yourself. And once you gave yourself that freedom and understanding that your throat center is defined because this is a gift you have to give to the world, like how do you use that more intentionally? How does that free you to be more aligned and truly then taking it to the next level of this is what's going to attract people, the right people to you because they're going to want someone who has a strong voice.
Hmm. Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. And I mean, and as it's weird because as you watch progression, right? Career progression, it's like, oh wow. And literally I've become a marketer. Like part of what fascinated me about marketing as a child even was why certain like symbolisms or words were being used to promote, like, why are you using teddy bears to sell toilet paper is always my go-to. And I was fascinated by it. But even now, wait, like I'm literally using my voice to help other businesses grow and be successful. And that's what I was fascinated with, just the different wordplay. I don't know.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I just love that. I got straight up chills when you said it because it does make 100% sense.
Yeah.
This is a gift you're here to give. You're using it to help people market their business, and thus they are receiving something they might not have. Their business is thriving, your business is
Mhm.
thriving and moving in that direction because you're living in alignment with your design. And when other people like receive that, they then can thrive in a totally different way. So I loved how you presented that. And yeah, it was a very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
So share with our listeners, Nichole, how do people connect with you? How do they get into your world? How do they tap into that throat chakra of yours?
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So you can follow me on social media on Facebook and Instagram. I'm at Stargazer Creative, MA for the state of Massachusetts. You can also visit my website. So my website is stargazercreative.com, one word. But if you do stargazercreative.com/links, all of my stuff is there. So it's basically my bio page, but my LinkedIn bio page, but on my website. So I get the SEO. And I update it regularly with all the different things if I'm running events, or you can find the networking neighborhood there. You can find my newsletter signups there, my social follows there. So stargazercreative.com/links is probably your best bet.
Awesome. And we will put everything in the show notes so people can
Perfect.
connect with you. And it's the networking neighborhood. That's your membership to get
That
people
is the
in
membership.
and
Yeah.
share. I love that you called it the neighborhood because right, networking and like truly connecting people, you do that in such a beautiful way because it does feel like a community, not just a cold connection. And I love that you called it that. So,
Thank
um,
you. Yeah, and I tell people a lot, I'm like, no, it's like any neighborhood, right? Like this house might not be good for you, but maybe you want a condo in this building. Like it's just finding the spaces or the restaurants and places that you want to be that are going to make sense for you.
Mm, I love that so much. And
Thank
for
you.
all of our listeners out there, connect with Nichole. She's got so much wisdom and value to add. And when she speaks, it truly is powerful. So connect with her on all of the different platforms. Go check out her neighborhood. It's going to be something that absolutely helps support your business. And as we always want to grow in our human design, grow in what we know about ourselves, but grow our businesses with intention, doing the things that we love. So
I love
until
it.
next time, my friends, cheers to your success.